and time again, I've broken through so many walls. And maybe everything.
DoorDash LCO always providing the goods, at least for game one. Let's see if game two can follow up with the same damn thing. Bit of Mammoth, bit of Direwolves on the menu, and it's going to be a pretty good game. Direwolves have been playing damn well recently. You know, their performance has been a damn good. I don't know. I'm trying to run. My thesaurus is empty, Rusty. Please give me another word for good.
Oh, geez.
Spectacular?
Beauty. Doesn't that mean like better than good though? Like, I don't know. I can't think of a synonym for just good. Solid.
Solid. Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Beautiful. Now, also, Mammoth have got a win on the board, and that's what matters as well. And I believe that they may even have a bit of a roster shuffle. So let's have a quick look at Mammoth today. You got Zyster coming in at mid. Rusty, do you know this man, and what's he going to be able to bring to the lineup?
Nope, no idea.
Beautiful. Well, Skimmy, tell me why Mammoth are here and what they're going to be doing with Zyster.
Well, he's a new character that hasn't been unlocked yet. You know, needs to get to the next level of the chapter in the story of the game.
Who's that player?
Absolutely. He's a big dog that we'll have to wait and see. But look, I tell you what, I think Mammoth are in a really cool spot right now because we were like wondering, are they going to stick with the same core 5 members and just run it to the end of the season and say, all right, guys, like, you know, you've had that experience. Let's see where we can take things, you know, going forward. Or would they utilize, you know, their big roster and shuffle things around and say, look, we actually have a big chance there to cause a few upsets, as you coined it, Rusty, be a bit of a blue shell because they're up against a lot of these teams now that are fighting for the 5th spot. They're actually going to be playing against Peace, Legacy, and Gravitas, so they can definitely do a bit of damage to say that we're not going to be making playoffs, but you want to.
Well, I hope it works out for them. You know, hopefully they can be that blue shell that Rusty really wants them to be. However, it's battle of 2 teams. Let's have a quick look at Direwolves as well. And Rusty, is Shock going to be the king of mid again?
I mean, it's definitely possible at the very least in this game today. We don't know much about his opponent, we'll say that much, but we know the consistency that is Shock, and you know, he was going off last week. Highlight reel on the Zoe. It was able to get himself a Juve's highlight, which is a pretty big win because it was mostly just about him. So definitely can be the king of mid. Has a very good jungler to work with though. Only has been in very good form lately and is definitely someone to keep your eyes peeled on for how he is able to enable Shock to be that king.
Okay, and another question regarding both these teams. Are we going to see anything special from either of them that we're aware of from patch 11.15?
Probably, and Skimmy may correct me on this one as well, but I reckon Gunkrab is in the list of people who will play weird things in the bottom lane.
Yeah.
So he could be definitely on the Syndra train. Has been a bit of a Ziggs player himself, but even well in the past is able to play those mages and was also a support for a while, right? So he's probably the most likely change that you would expect to see. Nothing really sticks out to me too much besides the obvious fact that Mammoth play different things every single week, and this swap in mid laners could be because it fits the champions in the meta better right now.
Okay, well, Skimmy, do we think Mammoth have much of a chance today up against Direwolves? Because Direwolves have looked damn good up till, you know, the last couple of weeks. And Mammoth, you know, they have some glorious moments, they have some glorious games, but unfortunately, they haven't converted that to W's. So what do you think, if you had to give a percentage of Mammoth taking the dub today, what would that number be?
Probably go like 70-30 in favor of Direwolves. I reckon, okay. Given how they've been ramping up, they should be looking to try and take this one quite handily to justify the spot of saying that we are 4th, that we could be, you know, making playoffs here tonight. I think, going back to your point about Gunkrab, I think he has actually got the biggest champion pool of unique champions played the split so far. I think he certainly can play the mages if he wants to. He's yet to get that MVP though. He hasn't delivered to his front door any scrumptious food, so he'll be quite keen to have a pop-off performance and say, let's draft around me, boys. Let's get a big dub. Let's wrap this one up by 10, and Rusty can go watch the Olympics.
Oh, I think
Please.
Someone else that is very keen to watch a bit of Olympics, but also to do a bit of interviewing is Nat. Let's bring Nat back into the conversation and see who you have down on the sidelines for the pregame.
I am going to be joined by Nectar and Claire, the 2 top laners. Thank you both so much for joining me. Nectar, I want to ask you, you know, there's 4 games left for Mammoth. There's a lot of potential for upsets here. How confident are you feeling that Mammoth can deliver that?
I think with new mid laner, we kind of have to find our team synergy again, but we're still going to give it all that we got to find the next win.
Has there been a lot of practice with this new mid laner, or is this just something that you want to give him a chance and bring him into the LCO and just see where you guys sit?
We played a couple scrims with him, but I guess not as many as we hoped for. But yeah, I think he'll show the world what he's got.
I look forward to it. It's always exciting when we see someone new come into the LCO. But Claire, over on Direwolves, you guys are looking pretty spectacular. How confident are you coming into this game?
I mean, it's always going to be like more of a relaxing game when you're versing a team that's at the bottom of the table. I think Mammoth though, they have shown games where like they've looked quite like they look like they can take games off of other teams. So obviously like, we're not going to come in here thinking we're going to smash these guys and they're no competition at all. But I think this game should be easier than versing like other middle of the table or top of the table teams. But of course, we're not going to disrespect them.
No, for sure. I look forward to it. I do want to ask some questions about the patch, though, Claire. Do you think it's going to change a lot of the playstyle for Direwolves or potentially some of the champ pool that we might see?
I think this patch will affect some teams, like depending on what kind of players they have. I think Direwolves might be one of those teams that benefit from some of the changes, like especially the mages getting buffed, being played bot more often. But yeah, I think it's something that we've looked into and it might help us as a team. We'll see. I think it's still a bit early. Like we haven't played stage games on this patch, so hopefully it's something good for us.
Yeah, you guys always seem to sit in favor of, new patch. Don't know where it's going to sit yet. We'll just have to wait and see. But Nectar over on Mammoth, do you think there's going to be many changes for you guys and the way that you play all the champs you're going to be picking?
I mean, I think Vieira's out of the soul lane, so sadly I don't think I'll be able to play that anymore. Also, the Gwen nerfs were really big, like champions like Set can actually contest to level 1, so kind of sucks that those are the 2 best champions I've performed on this split. But yeah, I definitely got something in my pocket though.
I'm looking forward to it. This is it. This is your time to step up on a new champ and show them what you've got. I do want to ask one last question, though, to both of you. Nectar, first, who do you think is going to be the biggest threat for you on the side of Direwolves?
Oh, man. Well, I think the past few games against Direwolves, I've performed really poorly. I mean, I got absolutely slammed and even in counter matchups, but, I'm trying to forget the past. Now I'm going to give Claire a lot harder of a time.
You might have to watch out, Claire, but who do you think is going to be the biggest threat on Mammoth for Direwolves?
I think the unknown aspect of their new mid laner is going to be something that could throw us off. So I can't give like a 100% answer if it's going to be him, but if it's not him, it's probably their jungler. He seems to be pretty consistent for most of their games. But yeah, I think yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, I'm excited to see how this one plays out. Thank you both so much for joining me, and good luck tonight.
So, thank you.
There you have it. Good to hear that there may be a couple of secret champs up their sleeves that we could be seeing in the draft phase. Although, look, we did see that in the first game, and maybe there was a bit of lackluster performances coming out from Chiefs, at least. Order doing a pretty damn good job in the first game, but we're at a new game in a new position, and some of these pocket picks could come out to play. But something else that's coming out to play is the predictions. Which way are we all going to go? Now, I'm expecting this one to be one-sided. But am I going to be right this time? Look, on this page, we've got Direwolves for Rusty and Skimmy. On this page, we've got Direwolves for everyone else. So this one was expected. Last one wasn't, except I think, did I get my prediction right last one? I didn't see which way the predictions ended up going.
I think it was like 55 to Chiefs. Just tipped in their favor.
Okay, and that was probably my points that I put on. Swung it that way too, so I can't even blame Twitch chat this time. Anyway, this time, Jubes is on 49 and 20, so he's actually behind both of you two. So as the first and second here in the prediction battle, do you have any words you want to say? Is anyone able to catch you before we're done with split 2?
Catch either of us?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, Skimmy has to catch you, so Rusty, what's your plan to stop him from doing that?
Copy Skimmy.
I was just about to say that. I was like, just copy who.
I want to force people to submit their tips privately. I really think that you should all be submitting them privately, and I don't want to see them because then it influences how I think about tips. So that's my point to you guys. I know I copped it for never submitting it publicly, but I think that I'm the one that's right.
Ooh.
Rusty's trying to change up the prediction matter over here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's true, it's true. Now, let's have a quick look at the head-to-head. Both the junglers for these teams are key in their victories. Of course, you do have Gudo up against Only. Now, first, let's have a quick look at these poses. Only, I think he's trying to be an archer, unless he just, you know, is trying to take a fight with a really tall guy and trying to push his chest out. Not too sure what he's doing there. Gudo, however, much more natural, you know, traditional stance with the fists up. So, if you were going into a fight and both these players were coming at you with these stances, who would you be more scared by or threatened by, Skimmy?
I think I'd be more scared of Only because I'd be looking at him and I'd say, you know, some taunting words and he'd respond back in that deep voice and I'd be like, it's all over, I've lost. So
Oh, no.
I think I'd want to have Only on my side if it was the brawl.
Okay, and now there's some numbers here too. Rusty, you want to tell me about the numbers?
I'd rather talk about the threatening aura that Gudo has with this pose. I think he's doing a lot of work. Like, we all know Only has bigger biceps, Mac, but shout out to Gudo for really keeping up the fight here and making it closer than necessary. I don't think there's too much to talk about, honestly, regarding a lot of these jungle matchups. The average wards placed, one of them's a Lee Sin player. That could be a factor. And Direwolves win more, so they do more damage to objectives. So really, it speaks for itself.
Muchness otherwise.
Well, Nat, do you think, you know, arm length-wise from both of them, do you think Gudo's got, like, extra reach? He looks like he's a pretty tall guy.
I reckon he's like, he might not have the extra reach, but I reckon he has the, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's not nimble, it's another word. But
Agility?
Yes! Yeah,
Agile.
yeah. Yeah, he's agile enough that he could just duck under Only and just give him the left, right, good night, maybe.
Ooh, okay. Well, I guess we'll see once we do get into the game. Of course, Champ Select not quite ready. Are we expecting... Let's have a guess. What do we think Nectar's crazy picks are that he was talking about?
You know the funny thing about that interview where he's like, oh, it's a shame that my champions have been nerfed, as if they're his champions and not two broken champions. So,
it's true, he said it was his two
obviously.
best performing.
Yeah.
His two best performing.
But who'd have thought that the two most broken champions are easier to perform on as well? That aside, I would like to see him play the Mordekaiser. I think if he's taking it to people in 1v1, that's the ultimate 1v1 champion, right? You pick a target, take him to an arena, and have 7 seconds with him one-on-one. So why not give him the Mordekaiser?
Yeah,
Let him be more
true
aggressive.
One-on-one potential. It'd be something that could work. I don't know, Nat, do you think we'll see anything crazy there in the top lane? What's been buffed again that could go to the top lane? Even, you know, some of those carries, maybe?
You have Kennen as well, potentially. We've
Play
seen Kennen
Akshan.
a little bit overseas. Akshan. I think he's an Akshan, he's least played in top lane.
Yes.
Isn't he right?
I've
Maybe
seen
But
it played.
Most
I
played
don't
in
think
mids.
people know what he does yet.
Um,
So
Well,
you run press the attack, you max your E, you go swinging, you hit your E too many times, you look like an idiot, you hit FF.
okay. Well, that could work, but we can also find out the answer to these questions. Are we going to see anything crazy? Are we not? Because Champ Select is ready for Game 2.
Beauty Mac, well, let's think about my shortcomings and let's talk about these two teams here and see what they can get up to. Mammoth, 1-16, looking to try and cause a bit of a stir here with a brand new mid laner. Rusty, we're going to talk about that for a little second because I'm very keen to see the direction that this team goes. We look at what Wave's played in the past. It's been a bit of a mix, right? You talk about Assassins and the Kiana, the dominant lane bully and Illusion, sometimes even the flex in the likes of Akama. So very keen to see what Zeister's steez is.
Yep, definitely interested to see the champions that he goes for. If we're to trust Twitch chat, Skimmy, which I do sparingly, they've called him a Vlad one trick, so we'll definitely keep our eyes peeled on that as a possibility, because a lot of champions can handle Vlad, particularly in a competitive game as well. Very reliant on his scaling up into team fights, but eyes will be peeled for the champions that Mammoth choose to pick. And I'm still torn on if we call them the blue shell or if we call them the banana, just based off the Mario Kart references, because I think a banana might be more appropriate, because they're not targeting first place, right? Which is where your blue shell goes.
Sure.
They're just slipping up the teams fighting for fifth.
Yeah, I suppose it gets a little bit more accurate if we're talking context in this one. I'm very curious to see already. There's a big laying down the law, if you'd say, for a Mammoth drafting section here to say, you can't have the LeBlanc, you can't have the Syndra. You played it even before the buffs there, Shock, mate. It's not going to happen here today.
Yeah, it's a pretty big takeaway, particularly because it could be flexible for Direwolves as well down to the bottom lane. Cassiopeia is actually one of those champions that did also get changed here on this patch.
Yep.
Shock has already played that, so let's just give him a bit of extra strength. Why not? And we said this was the patch of the Chiefs. Maybe it's just the patch of the Direwolves as well. A couple of nice little buffs for them overall. For their mage player in mid lane.
Oh, I just get so excited. You see these two champions locked in the first rotation with the Direwolves and say, do whatever you like now. Pick anything else, and you've already got yourself a core foundation. You know, it's like when you go to a builder, you say, look, mate, give us the quote on like how much this is all going to be. You know, let's talk about the materials. Let's talk about the you know, the workmanship. And he says, look, Bard, Zinza, you go, great. Do whatever you
Tradesmen
want.
you can trust.
Yep.
That's
He's not going over budget. He's getting it done on time. You're a happy camper.
Definitely true. They are absolutely, if allowed, they will continue to be one tricks and they'll continue to get away with it.
Yep.
And that is what has been given to them today. Looking at the bans from Mammoth specifically, the Thresh ban is curious, especially if you're going for Nautilus bot lane. So to me, that's just a sign that they're just respecting Cupcake. Maybe this week has been one-tricking it in solo queue, but goes back to his Bard anyway. The Syndra we spoke about and LeBlanc, also a good takeaway from Shock, shows that perhaps Zeiss, they're not too confident into that matchup. Now, this Graves that we're seeing has been running around in mid lane a lot, so just keep your mind on that. I don't know if Zeiss plays it, but I can also tell you that LeBlanc beats Vladimir. So if I'm going to give any merit, again, to the opinions of the chat.
There you go. Well done, Twitch chat. You're not only affecting the predictions, you're also now affecting Rusty's brain. So the power is just... It's grown exponentially from where we began in this one, isn't it? It's kind of crazy. Graves, as you say, it was played in mid lane by Kisse. We've seen it in the jungle, obviously, by Kevy. You missed the game beforehand. Once again, putting in an absolute clinic. So very keen to see if that will be Gudo dominating in the jungle, or if that will be Zeiss nominating himself as, I'm the new player. Watch out, I play Graves mid.
I mean, it has actually just been tearing up solo queue as well. If you haven't played a game of League lately, first of all, that's fine. If you're watching, that's all that we ask for. But Graves mid has been one-hitting everybody. It's gross. Camille going to be a lock-in here for Direwolves. Skimmy, that's also a comfort area for Claire. It's one of his best performing top lane champions. Works well with the Xin Zhao. Good damage that can come out of both melee members here. And a surprising amount of shields. They are into a champion who can go Serpent's Fang. So that Sterak's gauge value may be lost a little bit in the Graves. But the rest of the comp still yet to be decided. And a lot of focus on the neck in top lane.
Yeah, well, last time they actually played, it was the Camille into the Renekton matchup. So this time, they're not even going to take that chance. They've also banned away his Set, which has been his most played champion, Nectar. So really saying, Claire, 5 games undefeated on this Camille. We're not going to get a defeat here today.
I'd like to see if Nectar can play the Jax, I reckon. Like, give us the matchup that tends to be Jax favored. See if you can actually take it to Claire in the 1v1. In terms of, you know, points of entry to win games, that's definitely a possibility. Magic damage in mid lane is a very easily sourced thing, so you could round out your composition pretty well. You've already got engaged through bottom lane as well. So that's where I would go. Waiting to see where Mammoth do choose to go, but I would like a Jax and I would like a mid laner here to round out their comp. Dials on the other side will shout out if something is unconventional. Right now, it is all by the book.
Really is, isn't it? It hasn't changed an inch on this occasion. And why would it? I suppose they're really giving themselves up to be as strong as possible with a ideology and a strength to say that we could lock ourselves in for the playoffs. Now, that is a Shen.
I'm a fan.
Could be in the top lane. It gives you the taunt, the stun that I guess you're looking for as a Jax. And it does give you the global pressure to try and affect these 1v1s.
Yeah, but not only is it global, it's actually not bad into the Camille matchup. This is a very infrequently seen matchup, I will say, but the Spirit's Refuge, the W that you can place down, can stop Camille's true damage auto attack, right? You're able to time that really nicely in lane, then you'll actually have a really good time in the laning phase specifically. It gets a bit harder as items come across, yes, because Camille's cooldowns go so low that she'll be able to just constantly hit you. And again, no surprises, let's not even bother. We'll talk about Mammoth some more. The Shen can handle lane. I would personally be very interested in Ignite Teleport from Nectar to put the foot down to try and actually handle that 1v1, because if he gets ahead in lane, controlling everywhere else is so much easier to do. You know, Shen ult the Yone as he goes in. Shen ulting backwards to perhaps save your team as Direwolves choose to engage. There's a lot of possibilities there for the pick, but they don't have a whole lot of magic damage now through the top side of their map as they round that out with a Yone.
They're very much reliant now, aren't they, on Frost popping off, and we have seen him pop off in the past. He really has brought it to some of the best teams in this league, but it's the consistency that's really, at times, let the team down as a whole. So very keen to see how Frost can navigate this one. You can clearly see there's a lot of nimble nature for the bot lane of Direwolves. Very much, as you say, by the book. But not, there's an opportunity for them to find a kill, get the Ziggs online nice and early, and then allow the rest of the team to continue doing what they're doing best. At least have that sort of balanced damage source. Cassiopeia, though, we'll quickly touch on it for a second. One game before the buffs, it was played by Shock. He played it into a Lucian matchup. He pretty much said, I was AFK mid, wait for blue buff, wait for a couple of items, and then I can start to do stuff. He got ganked mid, turned it around with Flash, made big things happen, and took down Peace. So he's well rehearsed in the champion, no doubt, and with a slight buffs to it, might see a little bit more aggressive tendencies from today.
Yeah, and the enemy team of Mammoth is pretty low range. You've got like Graves, who's mid to low range as even a ranged champion. Yone is going to be in your face as well, Nautilus in your face. That is the Cassiopeia wheelhouse, right, Skibby? That's going to be the absolute heaven zone where that is why you can pick it in the first place, let alone Shock's proficiency on it. Ziggs is going to be that one point of risk where you might take some damage, but you scale up pretty easily. And Ziggs damage may exist, yes, but it's not going to be enough to kill you. And we've seen time and time again Direwolves with these champions individually be able to carry games. They've all had their moment individually, and now they've all got those champions. It's going to be pretty dangerous for Mammoth to deal with.
Certainly is, but they've definitely got themselves a fair few abilities that can look to try and turn the tides of war, look to cause a bit of an upset here, and Zeister announcing himself as a Yone player, saying this is how we're going to play. This is the stamp, the mark I want to leave on this game. It's game number 2, Mammoth taking on Direwolves. Let's bring Farmer into the conversation and talk a little bit about this one. As I'll start, mate, by saying the boys can potentially make playoffs tonight. So how's the mood in the camp? How are the boys feeling?
Excited, another week of games. I think that we're not too fussed about, like, we're not thinking about like the end scores as much. Mostly just focusing on each game as it comes. Like not underestimating anyone at all, and just excitement, I think, all around.
Your excitement, and for good reason too, right? 11-15, a lot of changes. But talk to me about some of the picks we've got here, because Rusty and ourselves, we kind of mentioned that this seems very much textbook-esque. Comfort across the board from start to finish. Is there I don't want to say a concern, but a risk of being too comfortable on one particular style of play?
No, it's just we have things that we practice, but we don't have to show it because they gave us everything we know we're good at. So just pick what we're good at, and it suits. So it's just
playing the long con.
Yeah, we're really happy with the way this draft went because we don't show anything, right?
Well, that makes a lot more sense then in that context. Well, let's talk about the new patch then. We have obviously seen a very different idea from both teams to kick off the night. What have you made, not obviously revealing, but what have you made of the new patch, and how does that fare for your team's strength as a whole?
The new patch is great for us. It just benefits us in so many ways. I think that we have some of the most flexible mage players in the entire league, right? Because we even have like a top laner that can play mages. We have a bot laner that can play mages.
Yeah.
So like even if those champs which are coming into the bot lane were not as strong as they are, we could still be flexing them. And so those changes, plus just being good in mid lane, like definitely benefit us. And they didn't hit any of the champs that we're comfortable on, right? So in fact, they just reduced the strength to a lot of champs that we hadn't really found success on. So realistically, like this patch is just perfectly set up for us, and we just have to capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Direwolves Exodia when you put it that way, right? Final note from yourself. Looking at your last few games, you've got Legacy tomorrow, then followed by Order and Chiefs. Who would you say your toughest opponent is to close that split 2?
Toughest opponent? I think each team has their own strengths. I don't think that there's any one team that we're most afraid of, but I would say that, it's really important that we win tonight and tomorrow because I think that would definitely guarantee us playoffs, I believe. So
yeah,
that's really the only thing that we would care about. In terms of individual teams, like I said, every team has their individual strengths. Next week's teams play very differently to this week's teams, and also they're higher on the standings. But it's just each individual game as it comes.
That's all you can do, mate. Momentum is key. Beautiful. All right, Farmer. Well, we'll get on with this one. Wish you boys the best of luck, and until next time.
Thanks, I'm head out.
This seems to be a bit of a common...
Imagine not heading out. Are any of you just going to hang around? Like we know, man.
This must be the new coach meta.
I'm glad that we're looking at mid lane Skimmy after that coach interview as we come back into this one. This was the 5th pick on red side for Direwolves. This is definitely a matchup that you would say is unplayable. Bot lane, though, they are diving.
Yeah, it's a bot lane dive. There's Guru flashes on in, receives a heal from Cupcake, then commits his flash as well as the aggregates juggle between multiple Mammoth members. They're looking for a double kill. Cupcake flashing away
my God, he's
through
alive.
the smallest magical journey you'll ever see. Cupcake, thanks for the money. As he takes down Guru, but cannot sidestep the follow-up bomb. And Mammoth come out ahead.
They do end up with the kill top fighting as well.
Oh my gosh, it just continues.
Tell me that Nectar doesn't win if he has Ignite in this matchup. He has energy versus mana. Oh. Nah, it just gets smacked. That was so close, though.
Well, Nectar, definitely a player that loves to flirt with danger. We saw him do it last time against Biopanther, right? Always down to these clutch numbers. He just lives for it.
I'm telling you, Ignite Teleport was probably the technology to win that top lane matchup. So close, because Camille's always going to go Ignite Teleport, right? And if you have a winning lane matchup, that is a difference maker. The Teleport was the reason it was cancelled here, for what it's worth, the reason the fight starts in the first place. This was to assist in bottom lane, I believe, to catch the wave. His wave top was perfect for this as well, Claire. But hey, trades well as a response, and with 78 minions hitting him, unfortunately no ward in that bush on the way out from Nectar. Could have actually been a difference maker. We're still fighting.
We are still fighting, and it's only 5 minutes into this one. Looking to try and make as many kills as Minute says, only is unable to get the final piece of the puzzle to take down Goodo there. But now, he may just have to flash away. He's gone for a smite, says at least I'll pick up something from this one, as he's baited out the entirety of Mammoth's bot lane.
Yeah, they're missing a wave in bot lane as well. That turret's going to get hit. So Gunkrab going to get some damage down. They're going to miss like 10 minions. That's pretty much just winning here from Direwolves. They force the camp. They force the pressure. Goodo has an experienced lead. So he is currently in a very good spot overall. But his spot is constantly in jeopardy from Cupcake and only working together.
Well, despite the flash away, they are still very much keen to find success in this bottom half of the map and accelerate Gunkrab that much further. The hook went out, but not much more. And there won't be much more success found elsewhere as we pan the camera towards mid lane.
Nah, you can't stay. I think the only way you farm this wave is if you're actually using your E. He has teleports. I don't know, man. We're seeing a guy
look how
down.
Shock's playing the wave as well. He's really saying, you're just wasting your time.
I mean, his wave's doomed. He must have no money. Because that was desperate for 2 ranged minions. 30 gold must make the bloody difference there. But he's down 20 CS, and every time we've looked mid Skimmy, the wave's been pushing towards Shock, and he's been zoning him from the minions. We'll talk about difficult matchups. Welcome.
Oh no, he's going to come back to the lane with boots, and whilst Cassiopeia doesn't have any boots, she can certainly chase you down. That's going to be assisted by Cupcake coming on through, head in hands. Welcome to the LCO, Zeister.
Yeah, painful welcome. Lots to say, but not a lot that needs to be said. About that one, I think we all can acknowledge what happens. He teleports to a minion in the middle of the wave instead of his turret. That is just the way it goes. Cupcake having a pretty fun time moving around Summoner's Rift 7 minutes into this one. Has been kind of seen everywhere and is high-key ganking more than only the jungler.
Well, once again, a lot of damage onto Gunkrab. He's just gone.
Gunkrab is struggling. I mean, that is in part a byproduct of not having a support for a lot of the laning phase. But at the same time, it's the bush control. You know, these hooks are hitting. And full credit to Shinky and Frost, right? They're hitting their abilities. They're making it work.
Making it very difficult for Zeister to play this, isn't he? He just hits the miasma, says you can't retract. You're just locked in place here. And I will just hit you with so many twin fangs that you can't make that mistake again.
That is exactly the trade pattern that makes it unplayable for a Yone. You can't actually go back to where you started. And if you try and walk off in the wrong direction, you get stunned by the ultimate as well, right? It's really difficult. And it doesn't get easier. In fact, it just really gets worse. And definitely going to need some Merc Treads soon. Just to have the magic resistance and the movement speed to help counteract that.
Well, the self-nominated king of the mid lane. Not only a bit of a contact king, definitely can play a fair mage as well as he finds himself up by 40 CS. Really Turning to your point about how doomed this lane setup is. 6 kills so far, and whilst it isn't a big gold lead to talk about either way, you can certainly feel the pain points on different sides of the map.
And they're going to have free run of it. Mid priority really does create the Silk Road to the rest of the map. Nice cannon, that's 2 missed by Direwolf. Not that I'm counting or anything. Herald is going to be pretty free for them to take. However, the bottom lane victory, really, that Mammoth are currently having. Boots mobility rushed by Shinky here as well. To me, that's a statement that they're going to try and translate this advantage in bot to the rest of the map soon. Boots mobility is a major sign of that. Gunkrab about to be dove.
Gunkrab's got to be careful. Out comes the ultimate first of all. Then looking to try and sidestep it so the hook doesn't connect. It somehow still does. Aftershock, don't even need to talk about it because the Petrifying Gaze now comes out in mid lane. You can't slingshot back. You now find yourself back in the fountain.
Yeah, so it starts with 20 CS difference in mid. It becomes a Bard gank off the misplayed teleport, and now it becomes solo kills, and mid lane truly doesn't exist for the rest of this one. It's going to be very difficult to play for Zystar, which means it's going to be very difficult to play for Goodo and the rest of the map, but we can continue to talk about what's happening bottom lane, because that Shen ultimate puts in work, gives them the first turret of the game, and gives a major win condition for the team, a 2-0-2 Ziggs. It's going to be unrelenting. Not that Direwolves are letting it go quietly in the night, Skimmy.
No, and it shores up your point that you were concerned about before about Mammoth not having enough AP damage. Well, he's incredibly strong right now. It's the flash away. Tempered Fate could have been a whole bunch of problems. The Satchel Charge is fantastic. No magical journey, no get out of jail free card this time. Collateral damage. Find Goodo a second kill of the game.
And I tell you what, well played by Mammoth, but that was dicey. If that Q connects, if the Cosmic Binding hits from Cupcake, that was a trade and it was a shutdown, so you would have called worth. But just misses. And again, Mammoth, they find themselves more money. They've got Graves with 2 kills and a shutdown. They've got a Ziggs with 2 kills and a shutdown. They're well and truly on the board with damage as their win conditions. It's just really hard to play the map, given how the mid lane currently sits.
Well, top and bot now seem like complete polar opposites of one another, right? The fact is that the trade that Direwolves made was to summon the Herald. They took down 1 turret. They got a second headbutt onto this one, so nearly taking out 2 turrets and 1 clean sweep. And mid lane, as you say, being the Silk Road to success. Double the CS found here by Shock. He can literally go wherever he pleases and look to try and balance out the odds back in their favor once again. Because it looks like Frost is now going to plant himself mid, look to try and make things a little bit easier. Zystar will now have to go down bot side, but is going to be matched by Claire.
Yeah, currently the lane assignments are putting Claire topside, which to me is a sign that they're going to be looking for Herald more than anything else, or that they're just not going to be playing for the current moment for Dragon. And the Direwolves' current control ward vision is topside, so just playing to where they already have the existing wards could be quite simply the case. Cassiopeia does have tools to stop a Shen ultimate, and I think that Claire's going to be pretty comfortable 1v1ing the Yone as well. So things just kind of going as they were, just with different players in the roles.
1 Q, 2 charges, down to 50%. Doesn't really get much better than that.
Bardolt on the turret, dives free, maybe not even needing it.
Oh, well, there it is. Tempered Fate, the ultimate to try and disengage away. He's got himself a flash, and he will commit it, even though the Cosmic Binding wasn't going to latch onto anything. Still shows it some respect. Gunkrab looking to try and trim this wave, but the magic damage of this Ziggs is unbelievable. Nearly actually Arcane shifts into the bomb. But the rest of the boys come to try and back things up right now as only dashes on through, hits the ultimate, but 1v4 realizes I've got no backup. Maybe I'll sit this one out.
Gunkrab is experiencing pain, but the rest of his team's there to back him up this time. So he's able to just thread the needle. That could have been a kill from Mammoth if they're able to layer their Ziggs ultimate with the Graze ultimate just a tiny bit better. But Gunkrab's able to navigate the small corridor to get out alive. We'll see if Zystar's able to do the same thing, because really it's... Look at the wave, man. Claire's going to push this because they want to dive, not because he needs to push it. Agony.
Continues.
Agony.
It feels like he's being hazed. Welcome to the LCO. I say it again, 0-3 right now. 4 members rock up to your lane and say, you're the new kid on the block.
Look at mid. It's getting closer and closer to a Satchel Charge, breaking another turret pre-14 minutes. Like, yes, it's free kills, but is it?
I mean, this is extreme, isn't it? Gunecraft just can't participate in this fight. He's going to die to minions if he's not careful. But in comes the TP. Now Shinky's the focus. Receives the ignite. Drops on down. Whilst their turret survives, they will pick up a kill. Well, now we're starting to see, despite how explosive this first 15-minute passage has been, we are starting to see a bit of a gold lead going in favor of Direwolves.
Yeah, just overstaying a little bit in mid there was Mammoth. The push was fine, it's just that they were able to rotate, and they're going again.
I mean, it's not done yet, Rusty. Why would it be? They're looking for it again, as you say. Hextech automated. Thanks for the bounty, thanks for the money. And Bard, Cupcake, who picked that one up himself.
Another cut and missed. That's definitely 3. But yes, the win becomes lightning hits from the Xin Zhao and just tanks the turret for Claire. Pretty well played overall, and again, it's just so easy. You know, they're seeing angles, and they're just executing. There's no hesitation. They make the plays. The Shen ultimate down does obviously make that easier. Now you've got your Dragon up, and that's going to be free. Reset, flip the map, go towards the Herald. Pat Gunkrab on the head and say, hang in there, buddy, because it's obviously still working out.
Yep, he's not having his funnest game yet to say. He's really copping a beating here. And it was the one lane you were concerned about, and I'll say it again. This could certainly be a big turning point here for the side of Mammoth to hope onto. Really want to take this mid lane tower, don't they? Really want to make sure that that's Satchel charge when another wave comes on through, can destroy it, open up the manipulation of how they can rotate through, match it for 2-2.
Yeah.
Maybe assert a bit more control to contest the likes of these subsequent Dragons and Heralds.
And it'll only take 10 seconds of a lapse there or a timing window for Mammoth to be able to break that one as well. Now that we're past 14 minutes, it's a bit more fragile. Pretty easy for them to just steal that one away. The question is what happens at the moment that he pushes that far up in mid lane. Mammoth had very good vision around the Herald as it was about to spawn. There was multiple control wards. They've still got one deep that will spot only in a second. I don't think that only's going to clear that one. So there's angles, but they're not for teleports. They're just for vision. You know, there's no one that actually wants to teleport flank. And so it's very hard to say that they're actually going to contest this one, even though their vision is very much on the mark.
Well, Zleister and Claire both did not have that teleport available to them, so it was actually Claire that rotates up first. Goes for the hook shot away, but gets cancelled by a dredge line. Buffers it beautifully with the ultimate, but not enough when 3 sources of the damage are coming at you solo. No backup from the team there, as only had his eyes on the prize, and that was the Heralds.
And there's the lapse, right? Herald goes down. The kill very unnecessary. Claire falling prey to the pick of Mammoth, so the turret goes down with it. And Direwolves, yes, they're looking for an inner in top lane. They're going to get some money from these inner turrets as well if they're able to play for side lane pressure. But at the end of the day, we are seeing this Ziggs get more and more powerful. And the only win from that passage of play there from Direwolves, from Claire specifically, is that he ults to prevent, I believe, the assist going to the Ziggs at all. Otherwise, that could have gone from something even worse, right? And Direwolves comp, it's solid. We've spoken about this. Direwolves comp into a Ziggs with a Shen ultimate, keeping him alive with a Nautilus that's currently quite large, with a Locket already done. Pretty difficult to kill him. Will require some solid flanking, I feel like, more than anything else.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic read, wasn't it? More so than anything from Mammoth. The fact that you could see frustration from Claire to say, well, Zleister's holding this wave. I'm not going to be able to get a kill on him. We're clearly putting our, our money on getting the second Herald, so let me rotate up. But Mammoth identifying that, getting the pick, and able to then take down that turret as a result. And that's keeping this gold lead close. I mean, talk about it only being a 2k difference, but definitely right now, all my eyes on how Frost can play and how the team can facilitate him.
Yeah, because, I mean, we can credit Frost for being ahead in this game, absolutely, but we should also be highlighting Shinky's performance so far. The hooks have been hitting.
For sure.
That's what matters. Hit the hooks, win the lane. That is the Nautilus way of life. And it's against Direwolves, no less, with a lot of their pocket picks, and you have to punish if a Bard roams. So it's been aptly done. Good movements from Goodo as well to get the ganks down there. Is it going to be enough to translate this into a win for Mammoth? To upset the balance of our playoff standing, Skimmy, it'd be pretty big.
Certainly would be, given the context of the next few games they have to play. Want to send a bit of a statement in the league, to say the least right now, is that turret's soon to fall on down. Like Claire with the empower with damage of a Q says it's time to all in. I'm looking for you, I'll cop an ult. Now I'm dropping low, and hang on a minute. Stand United is enough of a buffer because they will stand United and take out Claire.
Claire not knowing when to call it quits. I mean, the outer turret, sorry, the inner turret does drop. But looking to dive there with the ultimate is a bit how you're going from the top laner of the Direwolves here. Shock. Knowing that his top laner has died and that the Shen has ulted down there as a result, is looking to poke his head in, but Xin Zhao's on the opposite side of the map and mid lane's not there to help, so he has to flash. I mean, I think we can all acknowledge that Direwolves are ahead. I think they're just playing with a bit more reckless abandon than necessary.
Yeah. Bit of turbulence in the air at the moment, you'd say. Bit of rocky road. It's not the sweet kind, is it? It's certainly one that's got you on the edge of your seat saying, is there a possibility? I think we saw the odds there before was like 88% in favour of Direwolves.
And I mean, that's a pretty fair percentage, wouldn't you say, as well? Like, that's how uphill it does feel.
Yeah. There is that 12% of you believing. Well, we're seeing some moments of brilliance once again come out from Mammoth. What does that mean in the context of things? As the top side will once again battle things out. Nectar looking to try and hookshot away. Actually, no. He just jumps back in, says Claire. Why would he not? He wants to go for that kill. Once again, buffers out the bomb, looking for the one shot, looking for the kill, and he will find it, and a hookshot away, cancelling out the dredge line. As he will not fall prey to the same fate that bestowed him in bot side before.
And if there's one thing that Claire is, Skimmy, it is a mechanical player. And that was all that really came down to. We spoke about this already through the draft. I think that Shen handles you in laning phase, but now you've got your Divine Sunderer. You've got your cooldowns lowered as well through levels. Pretty tough, really, for a Shen to do anything 1v1. So we all expect Nectar to slowly lose that one. And if you're wondering why is he walking up, well, it's because he has a Ziggs and a Nautilus on the flank, right? But if Claire holds ult, knowing that he's being ganked by a Ziggs ult, then it's that simple, right? Like, you're able to get out of it. Even without the Merc trades, the stun duration's not that incredible. Dodges the damage, gets the 1v1, buffers his hookshot. Easy day in the office for Claire in that situation. Try as Mammoth might.
Having a bit of fun with it, isn't he? He's now able to pick himself up the Rabbitous Hydra, a little bit more life leech, the Omnivamp, if you will, to sustain himself in some of these rough trades. It is Mammoth playing as a unit, clearly understanding how they want to navigate around the map. The bot side in particular, which you've already touched on, be doing God's work.
No doubt. Deathcap done as well. I mean, we're getting a big Ziggs. This game will genuinely come down to, can Ziggs one-hit someone? Or is it just a resounding no? And Xin Zhao and a Camille come in and just give him a love tap and he dies for it.
I'm just terrified of a 50-50
Good holding
flip.
waves, man. like, I think all 10 people playing, both coaches, they're all just looking at this Ziggs. That's what it comes down to.
Protect the Ziggs, empower him to be as strong as he possibly can be. It doesn't get any easier for Gun Crab in that individual affair. He's still lagging behind. Get to truly get himself on the damage charts to compensate and even match up, square up. It's all order.
So we've lost most of the turrets that Mammoth could reasonably lose before it becomes insurmountable. This does, unfortunately for them, open up pretty much the entirety of Gudo's jungle, as you can see.
Oh, Gun Crab's come back to this one. He's got himself a Trinity Force right now. Going to go with the True Shot Barrage. Forcing a flash away from Gudo as Zeister ults away, but in comes the Magical Journey. Cupcake looking for a cheeky solo kill, flashing forward, but gets respected upon. And an ultimate will be enough to get the 1-for-1 trade. So, when it's all said and done, even Claire realizes that Shen is a bit of a tough matchup when you're diving a tower.
Yeah, it turns out diving from full, maybe not the play. It was close though. Direwolves are still going to look towards the Baron. They know that the Shen has to reset. Shinky is here. Gudo is very low. How do they navigate this?
This
Frost.
Baron gets absolutely shredded, but it's going to be a numbers mismatch.
Up
They
the
may just
Ziggs or it's
flip
gone.
this. There is no Mega Inferno Bomb. Only's just been destroyed.
Wait, they get it.
Shinky's going to die to the Baron, but Cassiopeia picks it up, so that's another kill here for Shock. Can he turn things around? He's got the Petrifying Gaze up and available now. He has no flash. The Baron is destroying them. TP comes in, it's in smite range. And a one-man Petrifying Gaze can Shock look to navigate this Vision Denial as cleanly as can be. He's in a 1-for-1 against Nectar. He takes him out! Protected by Claire, TPing in. The backup is there. Now, how many of these Baron buffs can you remove? Claire dies before, but he picks up a double on his return. And that is an ace in what is pure carnage.
Yeah, Definitely not the cleanest affair here, but hey, Direwolves, they'll get themselves the most delayed ace possible. The Baron that was taken away from them, that was a greedy Baron in the first place, gets punished appropriately by Mammoth, but the follow-through is there. The teleports come in, the resets and cooldowns are there from teleports as well. You know, Claire dying bot lane's able to get back up in time just to make sure this happens. Shinky doesn't have Nectar tanking for him, chooses to stop to give a cheeky auto attack on a control ward as well. So the Nautilus goes down. Shock gets smashed by Frost's damage, but Frost runs himself out of mana, so he really provides nothing for the rest of this. Zyster has a crack, but that really is the best that he can do. And Nectar trying to save his mid lane and maybe do enough damage for a kill once again is just going to fall down, and that's where the chase comes in here pretty free from Direwolves. Unrefined League of Legends and chaotic playstyles should be in the Mammoth wheelhouse, and you can see they've been putting up a fighting chance, Skibby, but it's not enough to bridge the 6,000 gold difference between the caliber of player currently.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about Baron, you pick that one up, that's gold, that's a buff denied away from your position, but now the strongest component of it has been completely removed with that ace. Direwolves, as you say, a healthy gold lead. Picking up these dragons. This third one would put them on soul point. The Mega Inferno Bomb's already gone out, so it makes it even easier now to take that one uncontested. And the perfect player in this game, yet to die, flawless in his nature and Shock. He's got 10 stacks on that Magi's. He's feeling like a big game today.
I've played games like this in solo queue, Skimmy has the Ziggs, and here's the win condition, right? Clear waves. For the next 15 minutes, just clear waves. Direwolves are reliant on Baron. They're reliant on then diving with the Baron if they want to stop a Ziggs from clearing a wave. Mammoth are currently at risk of dying in side lanes, but the Ziggs is a bastion of safety, right? His ability to just one-hit entire waves of minions is almost unparalleled, and it makes it impossible for Direwolves to actually translate advantages into ending. Yes, they can take your jungle camps and maybe slowly build up and amass a 10,000 gold lead, but you have a Ziggs, Skibby. You have a Ziggs.
If we know anything about the Ziggs, he can certainly stall out the game quite handily between the minefield and everything else that he has at his disposal. And, well, in this position as well, 3 items complete, Azonia's too. Even harder now to try and take him out, as opposed to needing the protection of the likes of a Shen and a Nautilus. So let's see how Mammoth look to try and play around this one, how they can identify what Direwolves are hunting for, if they can stall it out, as you suggested.
How do they navigate the side lanes is probably the one big point that we have to look at. Anathema's Chain's done by Nectar. If he puts that onto the Camille, then maybe he stands a chance at surviving any kind of side lane pressure, which would mean that Shock would be up against Zyster if Mammoth had their way. But right now, you know, we've been staring down a 90 to 100 CS difference between these mid laners since about 14 minutes in the game, which is not so good. If I was to...
It's one way of putting it, isn't it?
Yep, not so good if I was to describe it. So how does it look when a Yode tries to stop a Cassiopeia that is this large? Doesn't look good. And probably the one risk that you would have.
I think if anything right now, Zyster's really hoping to complete that Zeal item ASAP, himself to that initial power spike point, despite us being close to 27 minutes into this game. The relevancy would certainly shoot up by that point. Fate Sealed would have some interesting interactions with what the rest of the team have put together. Could be a bit of CC that they need to guarantee a pick target, overlap the CC, and stall this game out a fraction longer.
So we've got Nectar against Shock. He is actually the one hit by the chains. The Mammoth have actively chosen this lane and this matchup. But then Nectar has plated steel caps and a bramble vest, so I disagree with that. Like, I mean, it's just not, it's not it.
I mean, he's certainly not mitigation man, is he? He's like, well, much rather be up against Claire here, but I'll take it.
But the extra crowd control, I guess, from the active is nice. Extra stun duration, I believe it is, against someone that can't buy boots. In theory, phenomenal coupling of items against champions. Just perhaps not in this one.
Well, side lane's out of focus, and once again it is Mammoth looking to be the ones on the front foot. They drop a wall, but it gets spotted out there by the blue trinket. True Barrage confirms that they are on the retreat. It is, to your point, Direwolves crashing waves, invading and claiming everything to be theirs.
Yeah, you've got Baron buff in 20 seconds now. Mammoth's play, besides Ziggs using his ultimate to get there, Ziggs hitting level 16 is a pretty important power spike for them also. And you can see they're giving Frost a lot of time alone in mid. But he's about to recall on Vision, so he could get cancelled. Baron could be considered as started. Maybe they force a teleport from the Ziggs. How do Mammoth stop a Baron when there is at least 1 million wards in their blue side quadrant of the map? They can't walk in. They have to somehow play through the mid wave itself to really narrow the scope of positions that Dials can be on. But if they play like this, they are going to get harassed and they're also going to get potentially flanked. So it is really no winning situation.
Yeah, they're really trying to push up Frost, aren't they, to try and trim that wave. But between two of them, Direwolves are melting that Baron and basically melting Gun Crab too. That got me a little bit surprised for a second there. 4 members have the Baron buff. And now Mammoth have a big decision to make because 20 seconds and a soul point's up for grabs as well.
And Gun Crab, a 0-4 Ezreal had an 800 gold bounty that he gave over to them. So, hey, Frost will take that one. But now we're looking at a Cloud Soul. That is up in 10 seconds with no Ezreal in hand, but with 2 members of Mammoth less than half. This is a winnable fight for Direwolves pretty easily. Ziggs no ult as well, so it's entirely possible. Let's see how they play it out.
Most gold in the game is Frost so far. 5v4. Will the Baron buff be enough of a difference maker? The Dragon's been stolen. In goes Nectar. Gets locked in place by the Petrifying Gaze. And taken out for a swift death. 1 for 1 they go. But all the attention goes on towards Frost, who goes golden. But as he comes out, forces a flash away. Clear on the hunt with a double. Give him a triple. And destroy all hopes that Mammoth may have had in this game. They get themselves the ace. And may now look to utilize those 30-second respawn timers.
Yeah, that is an ace with a Baron buff in hand, so straight down mid lane. They've only got 2 minions here, so you may want Claire to tank this one. He's going to get in there early as well to ensure that. No, he's changed his mind. They're going to run out of minions, but they'll do enough damage to break the turret. Inhibitor's going to drop. I don't think they have enough to end, but with this next wave moving so fast, they should have more than enough time now.
They're pushing it in. The empower damage on towards one turret, translate into in second, still waiting for members to respawn. Mammoth still locked inside the fountain, grey screens and golden again. It's going to be the defeat screen, it's going to be a GG, and Direwolves 1 step closer to locking in the all-important 4th spot.
And what to say about a game like that? Congrats to the Direwolves, obviously, for being 1 step closer. They now wait to see if Legacy wins or loses their next game, as I believe that will lock them in if Legacy loses. But it wasn't the cleanest game, but it definitely was a solid game of League of Legends. Not a lot of complaints that you'd have. Direwolves were ahead, they acknowledged it, and they started looking for those fights, those 1v1s. A couple of mechanical outplays here and there. No complaints overall, just to try as Frost and Shinky might. They didn't have enough gas in the tank to carry the entire team over the line.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Mac, it was very entertaining, to say the least. A lot of action across the board, so much so that sometimes we were translating a cast from a bot lane straight into a mid lane fight. It was everything and more.
Yeah, there was points here and there where I was like, oh, this could be an angle back in for Mammoth, especially when they managed to get that Baron steal, turning that fight on its head. But unfortunately, then Direwolves did all the right things. We saw Mammoth overstay maybe a little bit too long, and then they had to give up the Baron buff because everyone got wiped. There was an ace there, and it was very unfortunate. From the start, it looked like, Mammoth were in with a shot as well, doing a couple of nice things early on, one of which was that, early couple of kills in particular. But other than that, it looked like it was really just Direwolves pretty much limit testing. Claire in particular, you could see plays like this where he was going very, very aggressive, really far forward, and the game was still, in question at that point. You're looking at the kills, they're kind of even. But off the back of that, then things, even though the kills were even, it didn't look like a very even game. It seemed like Direwolves, their team play was just that little bit nicer. Their positioning always seemed to be pretty damn good. And from that point, it was just Direwolves, a gung-ho to the dub.
Yeah, and this last fight that you're seeing as well was literally just Shock using the W and Mammoth losing the game. That is how powerful of a pick it was and how powerful of a tool it was for Direwolves. It was their red side last pick for a reason, Mac.
Look at the damage.
And it did more than enough to get them across the line. Again, try as Frost's might.
Yeah, just so much work done there, especially in the mid lane. 10k gold diff at the end. Didn't get the soul, but they didn't need it. They had the ace off the back of the dragon that was taken by Mammoth, and then just got to run it straight down mid all together as a team and made it work. I was looking at the spawn timers and I was like, this is an easy end, but Rusty, you didn't seem to think so. You were a little worried.
Oh, I was saying more that it was based off, it's an easy win with Baron, which means that, you know, given what happened at the Baron just a minute before that point, it's a lot easier said than done to just end.
True.
In a Ziggs's face. But you saw what happened when that Baron came up the next time around. There was a complete shutout of control and vision. And I think Direwolves actually just said to themselves, let's just, you know, put the foot down and stop giving them chances that we keep giving them.
Yeah, decided, you know, let's get the game over and done with before there's any chances for Mammoth to actually get back into the game. And Nat, someone we need to get back into the panel, is coming back in. Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Who do you have for the post-game interview, winner's interview?
I'm going to be joined by Shock, the person you guys keep saying has done a wonderful job that game. Shock, congratulations on the win. How do you feel? You had a pretty dominant performance down there in mid lane.
Yeah, I was like really happy with my performance, but maybe as a team, I think we kind of didn't play that well. Like, it was pretty messy, so definitely stuff to improve on. But yeah, it was a sort of fun game for me. Maybe my teammates didn't enjoy it, but I had a lot of fun.
Hey, as long as someone enjoyed the game on the side of Direwolves, then that's a win. Now, I do have to talk about that bot lane. They seem to be struggling a little bit, and I want to know how the team was feeling during that early game.
Well, I think I'm not quite sure what happened bot, but definitely the early game like went pretty bad, I'd say, because Cassie is good against 4 of their champs, but the one champ is not good against on their team is Ziggs, and Ziggs happened to be the one getting fed. And I think this happened in another one of our games as well. So that was a bit annoying. Like, I was a bit worried at that point, but I was so far ahead of Yoan that he couldn't really play the game, and so I was still like really confident we were going to win. But I knew when Ziggs got fed that it was going to be a long game, because Ziggs just stalls out games like really, really well, especially if he's fed.
So then what was your key and your way back into winning that game?
Well, I think like, yeah, I was really ahead mid, which meant that we were going to win like any front to back 5v5. So whenever like neutrals were up, like dragons or barons, it was really easy for us to start it, and they couldn't really contest us on it. And I think like we like fought the 4th dragon like 4v5 even, and we still won it. So that was like kind of how far ahead I was and how good Casio is against their champs. So we still had like ways to win the game, even though they like had ways to win as well, or like they had ways to stall it out.
Would you say that that dragon fight was the point where you thought, you guys, you know, this is it, this is the turnaround, you know, let's try and end this, we know we can win? Or was there another play or moment that you're like, okay, we're starting to get back on track, we can definitely win this one?
Well, I think at the Baron, when it was like really, really close, and like that was a chance for them to like win or lose the game. And I think we like played that pretty well. I can't remember if it was like 3v5 or whatever, but like we were really low, they were really low. It was pretty tight. So we just like, yeah, we managed to outskill them there. And then once we cleaned them up there and they didn't have any like Barons to use with Ziggs, like it was sort of easy after that, I think.
Yeah, it definitely went in your favor from there. But look, congratulations again on the win, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I really think, Nat, you should have asked him if he would have a cry about it if he didn't get the player that delivered as well, because he seemed to be very happy with his performance. And I have heard a few times now, I've gone back and watched the capping or gapping, that he reckons he should be the player that delivered when he doesn't get it. And he says it's questionable. So, I don't know. Does he deserve it? I think he does. So, player that delivered today, of course, is the big man who we just saw on our screen. It was Shock. So, DoorDash sending him a $100 DoorDash voucher. Thanks to them for that. And look at it. 47% kill participation, 4-0 and 5. Not dying once this game and having a pretty spectacular performance, hitting his ult at the perfect couple of moments, and also just gapping in mid. That really happened for him there, didn't it, Rusty?
Yeah, just had a pretty chill game of League of Legends, really. You get the counter pick in mid lane when the enemy goes Yone and you're at cast main. Like, oh my god, he's just discovered the easiest game of his life. And he gets to play that out accordingly, right? He has the team working around him. They all know that it's a winning matchup, and they accelerate that out of control for Direwolves. And it's an easy win for them, honestly, as a result of that one. Because he was,
There you
what,
have
like
it.
100 CS ahead at 14 minutes? That's almost
He
unheard
was
of.
he was
Really?
punching on.
Yeah.
He really was punching on, like his post suggests. He was getting it done. He was putting in a hard day's work, and he's a big man.
Well, there you have it. Part 1 of the prophecy has been told. Direwolves getting the win, and now Legacy just need to get an L if Direwolves want to secure their place in the playoffs. But Legacy have to beat Pentanet, and that is coming up just after this break.
The Baron is destroying them. TP comes in, it's in smite range. And a one-man petrifying gaze. Shock looks to navigate this vision denial as cleanly as can be. He's a 1-for-1 against Nectar. He takes him out! Protected by Claire, TPing in. The backup is there. Now, how many of these Baron buffs can you remove? Claire dies before, but he picks up a double on his return. 5v4, will the Baron buff be enough of a difference maker? The Dragon's been stolen, in goes Nectar, gets locked in place by the petrified.